Hey everyone, as usual, if you haven't watched the last two parts of this video, I do highly recommend you go back and watch it because this one is definitely a big bang. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so the last piece of this puzzle of part 3 of this chat app is that we need some sort of pub sub mechanism. So let's do that right now. So we make a new file and we'll call it just pubsub.ts. So over here, I'm just going to do a couple of things related to publishing and subscribing of various events. But I'm going to need a specific sort of helper to assist me with this. So I need another package. So I'll just go to my server. This time I'm yarn installing on my server. So I'll do yarn add node. So node Redis, and it's called pub sub over here. So let me double check while that is adding. Do I need types? Yep. So there's also a type needed. So yarn add dash dev, and I get my types over there. So I get some nice juicy TypeScript definitions. So now let's get it in, right? So import our pub sub stuff. So it's called node Redis pub sub. From node Redis pub sub, and what I need to do is generate 2 more clients, and I need to generate 2 more clients for listening to publish events and then to subscribe to events later. I think in Redis they call it channels, but yeah, so let's do that right now. So at the very bottom, I'm just going to do this over here. I'll just do export cons node Redis nrp. So I'll just do cons nrp is equal to nrp, and over here it's just going to take an object. So it's going to take an object of emitter, and it's going to be a Redis dot client, right? And then it's also going to be a receiver, and it's going to again be another Redis dot client over here. So I'm just generating all my Redis connections in this file, and then in my pub sub, I'm just going to import it. So import from data /data, and it's going to be the nrp over here. So now I got my nrp set up. So now all I have to do is create these different channels. So just like I created keys from my Redis, I'm going to create keys over here. So const Redis channels over here, because that's what they call it, and I'll just call it channels too. So we need a channel for the main room, right? So it's going to be a main room over here, and then user change. It's going to be user change. Oh, that's not how you spell it. User change over here. Okay, so now let's create all these publishing and subscribing events. So const emit main room chat update, right? That's what I need to do. And it's going to take now it's going to take a message. And this is going to be the message request. Wait, I forget it. I got to check my proto definition. It's a stream message. So that's what I need to take in. So it's going to be that. So just write down stream message over here, and it's going to be a function that just calls nrp.emit, and emit on the channel name. So Redis channel.mainRoom, and I'm going to just attach my message there. So I'll just do json.stringify, and I'm just going to stringify my message. Okay, so now I also want to listen to the chat room. So I'm just going to copy that and just put that right over here, and I will say listen main chat room update, main room chat update. That sounds weird. Main chat room update. So chat room update, emit main. I should say chat room over here as well. Chat room. Okay, so I think that makes much more sense. So now over here, it's going to take a callback function. So let's figure out what that callback function is. So we'll say on, and that will be on the specific channel event, and it's going to be a data string. So over here, you notice we don't have any errors. So it's just going to be the data and the channel name. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to parse this. So data channel over here, and essentially I'm just going to take a function that type type equals to I should probably export this. Export type type. What should I call this? Listen fn callback cb is equal to over here again we need the data, which will be of type t, and then it'll be the channel name, which is always going to be a string, and again we're just going to use our generics over here. So this will be of type this, and we pass that in as a generic. So now all we have to do is parse the data. So we'll do const message is equal to json.parse. I keep forgetting json.parse data as stream message. And then we just want to call the callback function. So fn the message. So msg and channel. Cool. So that's about it. That's all we need over here. We'll do export const over here, so that doesn't do anything. Oh, it's because of this. Okay, cool. So we have that, and now let's do the same thing for the chat room. So for the user change, right? So if the user leaves, so emit user, just say user update and listen user update. So user update. So again, this will be on the user change channel. And honestly, we don't need to really send any data in my opinion, but I will just say user over here, and we will just pass the user, because the way I'll do it, I don't necessarily need data, but there's no harm in doing this as well. And again, I can drop that in over there, parse that in over there, and then it's essentially the same thing. Okay, so I am emitting user update, and I am listening to user update, and I want to export this as well, and export this. So when my server boots up, I want to start listening to these events, right? That's the only time when it's truly important. So I'm going to go back to my server, and I'm going to bring these in. So I need to bring these in, so I'll just do import from pub/sub, right? And it's going, I honestly need all. So listen, main chat room, listen, and then emit, and then emit. Okay, so that's all. I need all of that. So let's handle emitting the events first. So I need to, whenever there's a new chat inserted, so over here, send message. After the message has been added to the chat room, add message to room over here, I also want to emit this event. So I'll just go back over here, and I will just say if error, then return over here. Else, if there's no error, then I want to emit main chat room update, and over here I just need to pass the message, right? And as soon as the message is done, then I can just do callback. So this also takes, and no, this doesn't fail at all. Yeah, so this callback, I'll just return null. And yeah, just null. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, so now I emitted, as soon as a message has been sent by a user, I'm going to emit that message into the channel. So now I want to listen to those events, right? So I'll go after the server has been bootstrapped. So get server over here, and it gets the server and sets it up. What I'm also going to do is run another function called is to start take a no. So I'll just do set up pub sub, right? Set up pub sub, and it's just going to be a regular function that I declare somewhere down over here. So I'll just say const set up pub sub, and it's just going to be a function. I'm not really going to pass anything. I don't find the need to. So on this, I'll just be listening to specific updates over here. So listen to user update, and then listen to main chat room update. So it's going to be a thing where the message, I get a message and I get the channel name. Honestly, I don't need the channel name, but I will do that anyways. And I'll just console log the channel. And now I got a new message, okay? So I got a new message, and now I need to broadcast this to all the users. So how do I do that? I reference my map over here, which keeps all my user call functions. So I'm just gonna copy that over here, and I'll just say for off over here, and I'll just say this will destructure a user ID and a user call, and it's gonna go through this over here. So now all I need to do is user call dot write over here, and I'm going to write the message. So I'm just gonna write that in, and that's it. That's honestly all you need to do to pretty much publish this new message to everyone. Now let's listen to new user updates. So now I'm passing the user in, but honestly, since the user payload is going to be significantly smaller than the message payload, because this array will only be as big as the number of users. And again, like sending like thousands in array with protobufs doesn't really truly matter. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as I know that there's an update made, I'm just going to list all users. So list users over here, and it's going to be an error and all my users over here. And I will just do a quick if check. If error, then return console log error. Otherwise, I want to do the same thing I did here, but with my other map call. So over here, I'm just gonna go down over, where is it? Over here. So I'll say for off, and I will do the same thing where I'm like user ID. Honestly, I don't need to do the user ID thing, user call, and then for the object over here, I paste that in. So then I say user call dot write, and I will just want to write all my users. That easy. We're pretty much done. We're pretty much done. I don't need the user ID, so I'm just going to do that over there. It doesn't matter. One thing I noticed, I might not have cleaned this up. Yeah, so I don't clean this up at the very end. So nowhere in this place am I listening to a user cancel event. So that is a no-no. So let's do that right now. So it's honestly the same thing as over here. So I'm going to copy this. Oh, welcome to software engineering, and paste that in there. So I'm not going to update the user, to be honest, because I'm relying on this stream to update the user. So I'm not going to worry too much. So what I'm going to do is just paste that in. I'm not going to update the user. All I'm going to do is clean up any resources. So what that means for that is that I take this user stream, right? And I'm just gonna delete the call object from there. And that, guys, should be it. There's maybe debugging that needs to happen, but this is generally it. Your server is set up to handle all of this. Like, and you just did a whole chat server in about 170 lines of code. 169, just for the fun of it. let's see what prettier does, because I format 179. Okay, so 179 lines of code. This is beautiful. This works. So now we just need to let's start our server first. So yarn start, make sure everything works, no TypeScript errors or anything. So there is a few TypeScript errors. So let's go to them. If we do that, we click it and we can go right there. User ID could potentially be null. So what we're going to do is, we know ID is null because we did that over there. So just for the sake of it, I'm just going to paste that in there, because now TypeScript won't complain because we already did a check to see whether it was invalid or not. And the same thing over here, right? And save that. Okay, so now let's try to run this again and see if TypeScript gives us any more errors. And doesn't. Okay, cool. So that means we're completely set up with our server. Let's work on our front end now. And that's going to be our last piece. So we go to app.tsx. We'll keep our app component over here. We'll keep our header. Now let's do a yarn start. Make sure everything works. And I honestly do not need this to kick off. So I'll Control-C and I'll save that. I honestly don't want it to, because then it's going to start, it's going to initiate a user session. So while this loads, let's just go over what we need. Okay, the network call did not get made. That is good. The app is the entire thing over here, and the root over here, and then the head, and then that. Okay, cool. So I guess I'll leave the black background. I'm gonna need a few component libraries to help me out over here. What I'm going to do is, that is named the header, right? This is the header. Yeah, I don't need the header, even though it's min height 100 viewport, so that's probably good. I don't even know why it's called header. I feel like it should be on this, but I'll just code in here, but I'll just rename this as a div. Remove everything on the inside, and I'll just say app container, because these classes are actually pretty useful, so I do want to reuse them. Makes my life a lot easier, you know. I don't need the logo. I don't need the logo. I do not need a link, and I do not need anything to spin. Okay, so this is like the bare minimum that I'm going to be working with. App container can be a div as well, and over here I'll just say hello over here. So now we're getting that. It's nice and centered in the middle. So now let's get some libraries, because we definitely need it. So cd what's it called, my app. Yep. And let's yarn add some stuff. Well, so I'm going to use material UI. Okay, going to use material UI. That's the one thing I am familiar with, so I'm going to use that. What else do we need? So we need material UI, core. We need, oh no, I didn't mean that for that to go off. Oops. I needed to get icons as well, so material UI icons, and that is honestly it. I just need a somewhat of a decent UI setup, because I'm not going to make everything from scratch. I am not that sort of developer. Icons, right? Wait for that to come back. Okay, so it is back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder called components. This is where I'm going to keep all my stuff. So the first component that I will need is sort of like a greeting component. So I'll do greeting.tsx and React functional component, no, RSF, I don't know, whatever. I usually have React shortcuts, but that doesn't matter. So I have greeting.tsx over here. I also need a chat component, so I'll just make a new file here called chat.tsx. So this is where we'll do all the chatting, and then the greeting component is the easiest part. So I'll just do import React from React, and then I'll do const component is equal to a functional component, and then I just need to export default component. It doesn't matter since since it's a default import, so it doesn't matter. One thing to get this component, why is this giving us a problem? Oh, okay, nothing getting returned. That is fine. And then we paste that over here as well, just to save us some errors as well. We will just make that a function. We'll just make that a fragment. Save that. Okay, cool. So now let's make our greeting stuff. So over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a couple of stuff. I'm just gonna copy this UI over here. So essentially what's going on in here is I'm adding some style to some paper. I'm gonna comment this out for now because image gallery we don't have yet. We will do that soon. But yeah, so essentially what's going on here is this is gonna handle our text. So we're gonna enter a username over here using material UI. So let's go to our app.tsx over here and let's make some state, right? So const user and set user, right? And that is equal to use state, and that's just going to be undefined for now, right? But we're also going to get the oh, use state isn't pulled in, so it doesn't understand use state. So now over here I want to get my TypeScript definition. Let's see if that picks up over here. So random pb user over here. So that's our user object that we're going to be using. It's also undefined. So what I'm going to say is that if the user is undefined, right, like we don't have a proper user, then we want to show our greeting component. If not, then we can go straight to our chat component. So we'll say chat component over here. So let's import those in right now. So import greeting from components / greeting, and we'll do the same thing for the chat, even though the chat doesn't really have any features right now, right? So we got our greeting and we got our chat. Does this take props? Oh yeah, this takes a on username enter. Okay, yeah. So let's do const handle username submit, right? This is the greeting component is going to be the one that's going to handle submitting the username. So on username submit, put that in there. So this is going to pass a string and an avatar. So I'll just put that name, string, avatar is also going to be a string. So we have that. Let's actually see if this compiles, because we can at least see what it looks like on the thing. See chat, this is exported over here. And yeah, everything looks good. There's just a few ESLint stuff, but honestly, that doesn't matter too much. Okay, we can go here. We have our input component. We can put our name over here, and hitting enter actually submits this. So there's some transition stuff, but that's fine. So one way we can check is we could go here and we can say, hey, console log name and avatar over here. So if we save that and go over here, let's hit enter, and we can see our TSASS or whatever. We can't see our avatar because we haven't really submitted anything for that. So let's actually do something now for that. So now our client is sort of like a global client, right? We don't need it inside of any function. It lives on its own. So I need to keep the client outside of the app. So when the app re-renders, we don't generate a new client over and over again. We can just reuse the same client. So All of this code is roughly the exact same with what we need. So I'm just gonna copy this, paste it over here. This was from the first part of this video. So if you didn't watch it, please do watch it. It's super useful. We're gonna do some server-side, some client-side validation. So if no name or no avatar, then we just want to return, right? We don't want to do anything funky. Otherwise, we want to set the name and we want to set the avatar. I know our server has validation, but it's good to validate on both ends. It really takes some load off your server as well. There's nothing to do with use effect, honestly. Actually, there is. So when we get our request back, so we took our response to an object, and this actually gives us a user identifier. So let's figure out what that is. Let's go to this definition over here, and this user object is just going to be, let's see, where is it extending? Whatever, but it has an ID, a name, a status, and avatar URL. So let's set that user. So set user. It's going to be, it's going to be a get ID. So I gotta say user dot as object. Okay, yeah, so that's super important. You need to know that this is not the user sort of class that gives us all the helpful functions. It's actually the object. So we have the ID, name, status, and avatar URL. So the ID is what we get from over here. So let's actually bring this out, right? Let's bring this out over here and say const ID is equal to that. And now we can say, hey, this is the, okay, so this is the response object, response obj. And now we can say the ID is this, the name is name, and the avatar URL is the avatar that was sent, avatar, and that's about it, right? That is, so as object is not assignable to type number. This isn't a number though. I don't know why it's complaining. Let's figure it out. So type as object, blah, blah, blah. ID is a number. Oh, okay. I forgot. Dot ID. There you go. So what's missing? Status is missing. Okay, so status. Honestly, the status doesn't truly matter. So, oh, I guess, let's see. So user from over here, and let's say status, bring that in, and we can do status dot online, right? So we have our user, we're setting our user now if there is no error, and the way we handle that is if we say if error, then just console or return console log error, right? So that's all fine and dandy, that's all fine and good. And now we want to, as soon as it's submitted and it's submitted successfully, we want to sort of start up our streaming. So the way we do that actually is through our use effect over here. So what we're going to do is this use effect is going to have a dependency. It's going to rerun every time the user object changes. And it will change when we submit the user to the gRPC server, we get an actual user back. The only difference is we only need to run this when it is not undefined. So I'll say if no user, then just return. We don't want to execute the function below. Okay, so now I got to initiate 2 streaming connections. And the way I do that is through 2 IFI calls. And by IFI, I mean immediately invoked function executable. Yeah, so that's a very common term. That's honestly used quite a bit back in the good old JavaScript days. But these days, usually, if you ever see your Babel code, your Babel transfile code, you'll probably see an IFI over there. So now we initiate requests, and now we want a stream a stream request. Yeah, so we want a stream request. So we'll do const request is equal to new stream request over here. That is not how you spell const, so const over here. And now I'll do request dot set ID. Set ID as my user dot ID over here. So what's cool about this is we only need one request over here because the way we set it up. Both chat stream and user stream take the same request. So we can reuse that. So we have this outside in the scope, and now all we have to do is client dot chat stream, and we send in our request, metadata, and then so now this time we actually get a stream object back. So we say const stream is equal to that. And now we just have to listen to events. So we'll do stream dot on data. So whenever we get new data, we want to execute this. So now whenever we get a new data, we actually get a chunk, right? They call it chunk, but yeah. So this is actually of type unknown, and if we do anything more, I think it'll actually error out because this callback function can only take one. Yeah, so in this case, the chunk is actually, so if we do const message, because that's what it'll be, const message equals to chunk dot, see, unfortunately here TypeScript doesn't kick in, and I'm aware of this, but what's cool is that we have it defined elsewhere, so we can use it as still a type. So the way we do that is we surround this in brackets and we say chunk as stream, what did we call this? Stream message and user stream response. So over here, I just need to bring this in, stream message, right? So we'll say the chunk as this dot that's not spelled right, dot to object. So I just want to make this into an object. I don't really need to do anything else. And also now, since I have this new message, I want to store it locally over here. So how I'll do that is that I will manage it through another use state. So I'll say message and then set messages. Honestly, this is plural. Just realize that. Is equal to use state, and it's going to be initially undefined, and it's going to be an array of messages. So we got to bring those in, so it's going to be stream message dot as object. So it's going to be a bunch of objects over there. So the way I'm going to set it is you do set messages. So if I don't have any errors over here, so set messages, wait, why isn't this picking up? Okay, whatever. And then it's going to give us our previous messages. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread the previous messages, and then I'm going to add my new message over here. So that's going to keep it updated and keep populating the messages. Now I need to do the same thing for the user stream. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here. I'm just going to comment this over here for chat stream, and then over here for user stream. Okay, so now over here we just have to change this to user stream, and it takes the same request, but this time it's going to give us a different response. So we need to get that. So user stream response over here, I paste that in there. And now in this case, we need also one more, I think this is the last state thing that we need to do, is set users, right? Capital U, and over here, just say users. Okay. And then this will be users object as well. So copy paste that over there. And now we can set our users. So set users as users. And the reason why, again, we're setting state different for messages versus users is because for the stream over here, for the user stream, we are just getting all the users, the whole updated list. And that's because of complexities that I don't want to deal with, and also the fact that, again, the users array is going to be much smaller than the messages array. Okay, so we set our users over here, and it's honestly getting it from this scope. So I need to say, oh, okay, I need to say that, and then it goes over there. So it's going to be to object, and then I say users dot user list. Ah, okay, I see. All right, so just make this an array, and I can just spread that. Wait, what's going on? Let's figure this out. So my user response, blah, blah, blah. Users dot user list dot, okay. So this is it, but I need to spread this over here. So what I will do is just say, over here, I'll just say dot user list, and I can just drop my users right in here. What do we have over here? So type as object is not assignable to set state as object. Users. Oh, okay, one is a user and one is a, okay, I'm setting users over here, which is an array of user. Oh, okay. Okay, so I actually need this because this is a response. This response has an array of users in them. So that fixes that over there. Save that. And now it's just gonna, what's it complaining about? Type as object is not assignable to number. Oh, is that old? Is that old? Let me resave that. Yeah, that is kind of old. So we can fix a few of these. What we're gonna do now is just copy paste a few components now that I had. Image gallery was one of them because I do know that I want my users to have images and they can select random ones. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use what's it called? Lorem Pixum, and Lorem Pixum is what I'm going to use for users to actually get this data. So over here, I'm just going to copy paste this. So essentially, what's happening here is I'm getting my dialog components and my grid components, and I am running my use effect to get random images. So I'm just getting random pages between 1 to 10. And I'm displaying them with a limit of 18. And the reason why is because it aligns properly. Finally, after that, after I have my images, I map over them over here in my grid list. And I just change some styling over here to make it a pointer so it seems nice. And then I finally set my image. So this is a callback function. This is a function that I pass into this component. So over here, where is it? So over here, let me uncomment this right now. And at the top, uncomment this over here. So I'm getting my image gallery dialog over here at the bottom. And I'm passing an is component, an open state, and an on image select. So when I select it, I set the image up over here and my name up over here, so that when I submit this request, I send both of them over here. So this is generally it for the greeting stuff. So let me save that, and let me save this over here. Is there, we could try something out actually. So let's see what's going on first over here. TSX is not a module image gallery dot tsx. Let me see. Over here, image gallery, save that. It's still complaining. Okay, it's not complaining anymore. So one thing I'm going to do is I got my chat over here, and I'll say welcome to the chat. And let's prototype this out, make sure everything works up till now, just so we're not too confused. Later on we don't get too ahead of ourselves and then can get confused about why this thing doesn't work. Okay, So I got my users getting checked over here. If the user doesn't exist, then show the greeting component. If the user does exist, then we show our chat. So let's give this a spin. So let me refresh this. I'll probably get a couple errors over here, but that doesn't fine. You should use import image list. No. Oh, component was renamed. Okay, never mind. All right, so let's go to our network now, and let's go to specifically XHR. We got a couple of images that if we now click this icon, we should get now a gallery that pops up with a bunch of images that we can pick from. So I'm feeling this over here that gets populated, and over here I'm just going to say t.code. Just so we can see stuff, I'm just going to delete this. And now all you have to do is hit the enter key. Hit the enter key. It initiates a chat initiate request, and it also after that follows up with a user stream and a chat stream and a user stream. So that's pretty cool. So let's go over here and we see that this has been submitted. And let's go to now our server. Let's see if we have any logs. No, we don't. But let's go over here and refresh this. We have a new user that is set up. What do we have over here? So we have a new user that's t.code and status is online. So let's now try to leave and see what happens. So the way I can do that, I can just restart this. So restart this, and I'm back over here. So now let's refresh this and see what our user status is now. So our user status, oh, this is probably too small. So let me zoom in, make this bigger, I guess. So what we have over here is that we have our two users, and one of the user is online. This is our old stale one from the previous part of this video, and this is the new one. So you notice when we refresh the page, our user went offline, which is great. Okay, so if you notice over here, when we signed in, we got our t.code over here, which is now offline, and we have this old stale user. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flush this database so we don't have anything over here, and if we refresh this, we lose our data, but that is fine. Let's just do it from scratch. So over here, I'm going to just create this user one last time. So me, t.code, and let me hit enter. And now it says, welcome to the chat. And if I go over here, refresh my database, and I see that I have a user over here. If I refresh this, check my database again, refresh, says my status is offline. So all that stuff is working actually pretty good. What else do I have? So if I go back again with the same name, I'm going to test for case sensitivity. So I'll just do that and that. So it should be the same user in my opinion, but it's registering it as a totally different user with a different case. So I just need to factor that into my code. So let me go back to my server over here. So if chat session username, okay, so this needs to be to lowercase as well, which is the reason why that is happening. So that fixes that over there. So if I restart this and now do a different case over here, if I refresh, if I pick some other image, this takes a while to load because of the images, probably high resolution images. Okay, so now if I do t.code, hit enter, and now it should change the first one. Yep, so now it's case sensitive. So now let me flush the database once more, just so we have some nice fresh data. All right. So now let's focus on the chat UI version of all this, right? So let's pull that up over here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our chat, and there's actually a bunch of components that we will need to make. But first and foremost, I will just bring this in over here. This is the chat component that I have made, and I will show you what that looks like in a minute. There's a couple of things that I don't have is the session. which I changed. The user list is something I need to bring in. The session is just a type of user, but actually I just want to bring that in from our user over here. So if I go back over here, my user is of type user over here, so I just want to use that. So let me bring that in. So user as object. Okay, so that fixes that. I need to make a few more files now. So let's figure that out. So what I need to do, cannot find name. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so now let's make the two components that I need, the user list. So user list .tsx, and then we need to make one more called chat bubble, right? Yeah, chat bubble. New file chat bubble.tsx over here. And yeah, so let's bring the chat bubble in first. So this chat bubble is something generic. The one thing that I did is if it's not the current user, then I switch the color of the chat bubble. Also, I import a CSS style, so I need to bring that in as well. So new file style.css over here, and I will copy some styles in over here. Again, if you need to follow along, please pause and then take your time copying this. You can see all the available code over here, so pause and always copy. So now message is going to be a stream is user. So the message has a sender's name, but I think it's user. Let's see what this is actually. Stream object. What does this have? User ID and avatar and message. Oh, okay, so I need to send back a user name, which I'll figure that out later, honestly. Right now, the message is fine. The message is fine, and I can just say this is just sender name for now. So now the chat bubble is fixed. It has your style.css. I go to the chat. The chat is just missing the user list. So now let's go to the user list over here, and let me bring this code in. So what I have going on here is I'm importing from Material UI core these 4 components. I declared its own internal user array object, and essentially just iterating over this. So let me save that, go over here, see what syntax problems we might have. So user list over here, let's see. The user list over here is just a user of type object. So I need to convert it to this. So essentially I might have to do everything from scratch. So user ID is just going to be x.id. We have our, what else do we have? We have our avatar, yeah, so we do x.avatar URL, and we have name. Yep, and we have x.name. Man, if TypeScript wasn't here, I would probably be struggling for a while. Okay, so we got that, and another thing we have to change is the current user. So the message is a message object, so we just have to say message.user_id over here, and that should equal to the current user.id. This is how I'm tracking whether it's the current user or not. This is just something that I'll fix out. We'll fix that eventually. User was not found, that is fine. Can forget about this. All right, so expected identifier, okay, that's why. All right, so now the one thing that we missed, I guess, is the stream message object. So let's collapse all of this, save this, and let me go to proto Google, random package. So stream message has the user ID and the avatar, user avatar. The one thing that I missed is the name. So I'm gonna put that down over here, string user name is equal to the 4th. So save that, and now let me just generate I need to go up one directory, cd ... And now I just need to generate the proto once again. I need to check my server to see whether everything is good over here. It might not be, so let's take a look. I can cancel all of this because all these resources actually take up a lot of time. So I'll just reload my window. So TypeScript has a better, it can do all the type checking from scratch. So what do we have? We have our stream message now, which should have our user. So let's go back over to our server. So we send a message, and the sender message, we also need the username. So username is equal to user.name. And now we'll save it into our database, and it will also emit. So that's good. That's exactly what we need. And that should be it. That's the only pain point that we were having. User stream, we'll figure that out. We don't need a user over here. To be honest, this can just be empty. And now let's go back to our app. So just close all of this, close all of this. And now let's go to our components and go to our chat over here. So the one thing that was missing was the chat bubble, and we didn't have the sender's name, but now we should. So if we do name, we get our username over here, and that should honestly be all lowercase, but for this scenario, I'll just leave it the way it is. And let's start things up. Let's see how this works now. Okay, I'm so excited to see how this works. So I started on port that, start my app as well, get that up and running, and now let's see the magic. And there just seems to be an error over here, and I know why that is happening. So if I go to app.tsx, it's missing some stuff. So a user, so this is the current user, and then the user list is equal to the users. And let's see if that's complaining about anything else. As object, it's missing the following properties. Oh, messages. Okay, so messages is equal to messages, and then we have a on message submit. Okay, so this is something that we still need to create, and that is fine. We can do that right now. So const handle message submit, right? And let's see what I type this as. So if I take this over here and plug this in here, let's see what this is. So it sends me back a message and an on success function. So what I'm gonna do first is if I check, so if I don't want to send an empty message, so I'll just do that, and I'll return, and I'll just do message.trim, right? Trim. I guess that doesn't work. Okay, so oh yeah, because I didn't pass message and on success. Okay, so this is just a function that I need to call onto later, so that doesn't matter for this scenario right now. Okay, so it says it has implicit type of any. Okay, so this will be a string, and this will just be a function that is void. Okay. So what if I do dot trim? Yeah, just to make sure no one is sending any white space either, I'll just trim that. And now finally, let's send our message. So const message request is equal to new. What did we name it? I always refer back to this because this is our truth. So message request. Yeah, so this is our message request. And so message, IntelliSense over here won't kick in. Message request, I need to bring that in. So message request over here. So I initialize that request queue. Oh, what is going on? Message request. Right? Unfortunately, this doesn't take an object as far as I know, so I need to do message request dot set ID. So set ID for the current user, which is user.user ID, and then message request dot set message, and that is the message that is being set in. So this is user possibly undefined. Okay, so if there is no user or there's no message. Okay, so that fixes that. So now I just do client dot send message, right? And I'm gonna send my message request. I'm gonna send an empty thing, and then finally a callback with an error and a response. Honestly, the response is gonna be empty, but what I'll do is if error, then console error, otherwise console log over here. Response. Okay, so let's go through everything. Everything seems like it's going fine. I'll go through the chat thing over here. So essentially, I'm handling the sent message over here inside this form. So I have a text field over here that is storing the chat the user is typing in, and then on submit of this form, I'm sending it up. So again, if you need to take a screenshot, pause it at any time to copy this down, totally do that. I just copied this on something I've done before. So now over here, just sends that in, and then we require that we submit a on success. So you see there's an on success type over here. We do that because when the message is sent successfully, we want to wipe out the text area field. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So let's go back over here and let's join, right? T.code, hit enter. Oh wait, I didn't attach a avatar, so that's it. So let me attach that, hit enter. And over here, see, it says that I am online and I am T.code. And now I can start sending messages. So now let's do just that. So network. Oh yeah, so I know why that is happening. It's because of the silly border box stuff that comes by default. So what I need to do is go to my styles over here and just say that everything follows the box sizing border box. So I think that fixes it. If it doesn't, that's embarrassing. Yeah, that does fix it. So now let's come back over here. So I'm still on T.code. Now let's open another one over here, get that in. And now this person is just like John Doe or something. I don't know, someone. So let's get that person in. So John Doe. Okay, so John Doe is online. T.code is online as well. So what's supposed to happen is that this updates as well, but it seems like it's not updating. But that's totally fine. I can fix that. Let's start saying something. So hey, what is up? Send that, and it says hey, what is up over here? And we did get John Doe, so we totally see what's going on over there. And it says hey, T.code said what's up. Hey, my name is John Doe. And then we go back over here and we can see that it has been sent. So let's do a side-by-side comparison now. Remove this. Let's actually also debug as to why it is not live changing, because now close this. It's not updating over here, but I assume when I send it, then it updates to offline. So something in my chat is not set up correctly. Yeah, I think the keys might be messed up. So let's go back over here and user change. Oh yeah, so listen user update is listening to the main room. So one mistake I made over here is putting the wrong keys. So let me update that. Okay, so the one thing I forgot, I was sort of messing up the update, is that whenever a user signs up, I forget to emit that there is an update to the user. So what we're going to do is in the chat initiate, when the user has successfully initiated, I am going to set them up. So In this case over here, list users, if they are undefined or they are getting set up, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put it outside over here and just emit the user update over here. So in this case, it's going to take a user, but then what is this? So I need the DB user. So in this case, I will probably need to put it in. Yeah, let's put it in appropriate places. So over here, right above, so emit the user over here, and then emit the user update over here. Another thing is that I need to emit the user when they cancel the chat stream. So whenever users go offline, I also need to update the user over here. And that's about it. User stream, I'm not going to worry about too much. I just need to let it emit from one place. So let me, oops, I restarted that. But anyways, I'll restart that. And then I need to just clear, is everyone offline? Because if that is, no, everyone's online. So I need to clear the database, because if you're online, I don't expect anyone to join. A DB user could potentially be undefined. So let's bring me to exactly where it is. So over here, so add user is what I need. Let me run that. And we're connected. Okay, cool. So now I cleared my database. And now let's see if everything works. So I'll bring up both my chat servers over here. Cleared that. What do I have over here? Let me close this console. What? Is this stuck? Okay, there you go. So I want to close that, and I also want to close that. There's absolutely no use. Okay, so now I'll go over here and click those seals and say this is p.code. Hit enter. I join in over there, and now I go over here and I say I'm the pug. Actually, yeah, I'm the pug, and I'll say I'm John Doe. Enter, and you see now that it updated live over here. Let's see if we don't have any errors over here. No, we don't have any errors. Great. Okay, so now let's set some stuff. Hey, Domaglo, I don't know, Domaglo, and it sends it over there immediately, which is amazing. Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. One thing I'm noticing is that the chat doesn't update, doesn't cancel out over here, but that's totally fine. That can be fixed later. It's not too much of a blocker. Let's see if there's any errors over here that come. No, there isn't any errors, so I mean this can be fixed very easily. So let's just do that right now. So my app over here, index and handle chat update. Oh, I didn't call the onSuccess function over here. There we go. So this is what I need. Save that. And now if I go back over here and I send please subscribe. Oh, this is stuck now. So I just need to restart. So if you notice now I go offline over here on the right, which is amazing. So if I restart again, and this person is John Doe, and join over here and join over here, even though the avatars don't change from the first point, doesn't matter too much. So it says John Doe's offline. So now let's see what happens over here. John Doe comes online, which is nice. So I say please subscribe, hit enter, and it goes away. Will do, man. So just a little follow up now. So this is generally what we made for our broadcast sort of room, our chat server. So we have our Redis client with our server in the middle of the proxy and the database, and now we have multiple clients that can connect to the server and have this chat experience. What's great about this setup is that if you horizontally scale your chat servers, this implementation will work because it uses a pub sub system, so that if a user has an update, if the chat room has an update, you can publish that to Redis, and Redis will distribute that to all the servers, and all the servers now know, hey, there's an update. I'm gonna push out my changes to all users. So that makes it really cool. We have this is the user leaving the chat sort of workflow, where the user disconnects from the user stream. User 1 is marked offline, and then all the other users are alerted. So, I mean, we don't have user-to-user communication, but everyone watching this video who wants to do it, if you want to take up the challenge, you can pull this repo. I will link it down in the description, and you can modify it to implement a user-to-user chat, and drop it down in the comments. If you finish it, I'll give you some props, which is actually pretty nice, because I think that's going to extend very long. So I hope everyone enjoyed this long series. I hope it was informative. Using gRPC on the web is a very new concept to everyone. Not that many people do it. gRPC is used heavily for server-to-server communication. The browsers don't really support this sort of, not protocol, but this transportation mechanism out of the box. So you need to have Envoy in between. But enough rambling. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a subscribe, show some love in the comment section, and I will see everyone in the next video. Peace.